we are going to have a look at linking different websites, either internally or to external sources. When we link to a different website, or even internally, we need the A tag. That tells us that we'd like to link something to something else. The important bit is the href. Where is it actually going to go to? So for this one, I've just gone to my website or my blog. And I've then said, click here, which is the end of the A tag, and then go to my blog. To see what this looks like, I'm going to go to the links folder, and that's literally all it is it says click here to go to my blog. And if I move over here, you can see at the bottom of here, it links to that website. And I'm going to click it once, and will then take me to my blog. We're going to do something very similar. This time, however, instead of looking at an external website, it's going to look for an internal website called info.html. Please note that this info.html needs to be in the same folder as index. You will also notice that what I've done is I've said there's an image called smile.png, and if you can't find that smile.png image, it needs to say this is the info page. I've made the width and the height both 120 with a border of 0, and I've closed the A tag. To see what that looks like, here it is. If I move my mouse over here, if you look at the bottom, you will notice that it's going to an internal web page, and if I click once on it, it's not very pretty, but this says this is the information or info.html page. To create a button that automatically takes us somewhere, there are a couple of different options that we can do. The easiest way is to make an HTML button that links to an HTML form. So I've created the form tag and ended the form tag, and I've said it needs to be an input type of a button, and I'm going to make it say click here, and then when you click on it, it needs to go to this website. Let's have a look at what this does. On the website, here's a button that says click here, and if I click on the button, it goes to my blog. It's not a very pretty button, but we can work on that now. The first button looks a little bit plain, but what we can do is use a CSS style, which is exactly the same, and although I might have gone a little bit overboard, let's see if you can follow. I've said the width has to be 300, there needs to be 20 points padding between it, there needs to be a shadow, there needs to be a couple of other little things. Alright, you don't need all of this, but basically I have a background, I have a color, I have a border of 1 point solid, and the button, the value is click here for my blog, and the same as the other one, this is the important bit, the href is my blog. Let's go see what that looks like. So if I go and look, here it is, it's yellow, and if I click once on it, it will take me to my blog once again. The next button I'm going to use has a slight but very important difference, and that is I'm going to use the class attribute. So what I'm going to do is, you can see it says my button, it says my blog, and everything else is exactly the same. And if I save that and I currently have a look at it, it looks very similar to the first one. So what I need to do is actually I need to define this class. The next little bit is kind of important, because what we've got to do is we've got to link this class to an external source. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to, in the header, link the style sheet, which is going to be called style.css. And of course I don't have a style.css file yet, so I have to create that. So what I'm going to do is, just in Notepad itself, I'm going to click once on File, I'm going to click once on Save As, and I'm going to call this style.css, and I'm going to click on Save. I already have one, so I'm going to overwrite it. And in my style, I don't need any of this, so I'm going to delete it all. So I've called this style. So I've called the style my button. I've put in a width, some padding, colors, backgrounds. I've called it the my button, and I've made it a hover. So I'm going to quickly save this. I'm going to go to my links.html page, and I'm going to refresh this, and it's now going to pull the style. And there you can see it says my blog. But if I move over the button, you will now notice that it now changes, and that's because the hover effect.